I, 32F, have been saving little amounts of money every time I have some to spare starting from the day I learned I was pregnant, which was 3+ years ago. For context, I'm a lawyer. The savings reached around 200k after 3 years, but in my country, you cannot buy a second-hand car with that amount, just so you know. I did this without my husband, 35M, knowing, because whenever I told him that I want to invest some of our earnings to assets like a home, a car, etc., he refused because he believed money is earned with money and he was in trades and he needed the cash. But I came from a family background in which my father was earning way too good, but in the end, the inflation, the economic crisis hit him and we had nothing when mom and dad divorced except for the debts, so I know things can turn around and you can end up having nothing. My husband knows I've been through this and he didn't believe this could happen to us. I still wanted to be cautious and saved money behind his back. My father got his doctorate degree in finances and managing the lots, so starting from day one, I sent the money to him and he bought lots, sold them, when they made profit, etc. The total amount is around 420k with his investments. But my husband doesn't like my father because he is not a traditional father figure according to him. Last week, my husband found out about the savings and threatened me with divorce if I didn't get the money from my father and gave it to him. Oh, by the way, the inflation hit the ceiling, real inflation around 120%, and economical situation in our country went downhill once again and he is bankrupt ATM. Not that my savings could do anything for him, as I mentioned before, the amount is not that big. It is not like if he had this saving he could avoid bankruptcy or anything. So I refused. I act like that money doesn't even exist. My plan is not to touch that money until she is 18, and I believe my father, with his real knowledge in buying and selling lots, after what he went through and how much he loves his granddaughter, is going to make it big enough so my daughter could have a decent uni life. My husband acted like I stole from him, which did not happen since I own my own practice and am also earning above average. When I refused giving him the savings, he told me not to come home or else. We have a domestic abuse in our recent history, so I told him no, if he wanted to divorce me, he could go ahead and I wouldn't resist. I packed some of my and my daughter's belongings and left, came to my father who lives a city away. But his friends and his family is telling me I am being the a-hole, acting like this, not giving him the money and keeping it where it was, my father's possession, even though I know he doesn't like my father. I don't think I am, but what do you guys think? Comment 1. NTA. It does not sound like your husband is either a good husband or a good father. You are a great mom for protecting and planning for your daughter's future. Your husband has offered to divorce you, and I think it's a great idea to let him, or better, you divorce him. He's abusive, manipulative, and trying to steal from a child. You and your child do not need him. The people telling you negative things do not know the full picture, and even if they did, it's still none of their business. Leave, let your father help you get a new place, divorce the dead weight, and find a better future for you and your child. Comment 2. NTA. My only question is irrelevant. I'm just curious for some more context on the value of how much you've saved because I'm damned curious. You say not enough to buy a used car, but that's not particularly objective because some markets are very expensive even used due to limited imports. Don't give him the money. Comment 3. NTA. Get out. Abusive people rarely change. If it were not abusive and you had saved enough money to save him from bankruptcy, then I would say NTA still, but to consider saving his company for shares if you believed it to be a good investment, i.e. was only going down due to inflation and you truly believed he could make it work. Then it would be worth it for the overall security of a loving non-toxic family. But as it is, you state it will not help overall, so this money would only be lost to those he owes money and then bankruptcy will occur anyways. Each creditor would only get a small share of that money proportional to what is owed. Often this is only a small fraction if the money owed. So not really helping anyone. Better to save if for when it can make a difference, like to your child's future. My husband and I, both 25, are expecting a baby together. I'm having some trouble with my family over the name. Background: I don't share the same mom as my siblings. My parents had me and my mom chose my name. It's not your typical name. It's a nature name, which she also had, and isn't one of the common types like Lily or Rose, for example. My parents bickered over my name. According to Dad and Mom ended up choosing my first name while Dad chose my middle name. My parents' marriage wasn't great, and by the time my mom died, when I was 5, Dad had met my stepmom Jane. For a while after my dad and Jane moved in together, they asked me if I would like to use my middle name Claire instead of my first name Acacia. I didn't want to use my middle name and Dad was a little upset, but they let it drop. My dad and Jane were more compatible with their naming preferences, and my siblings' names are more expected. Elizabeth, James, Hannah, Michael, etc. My name did get comments, and I would proudly tell people my mom named me. It wasn't easy for Jane to hear, and my family didn't love it. I love my family, but I was always proud of being named by my mom, and never cared that I stood out. I never wanted to be more like them or blend in with them better. It was a connection to my mom that made me proud. When I was younger, I used to talk about carrying on with naturally-themed and more uncommon names when I had kids. Based off that, my family questioned when we told them I'm pregnant if we plan to do just that. We do, but we did not tell them that. We told them we would be discussing names and would announce after our baby was born. My family made suggestions. Jane made suggestions that she thought were darling and would blend in so beautifully with the family. I told them we didn't need the names and asked them to please stop suggesting them. Talk of the baby shower and planning on that has brought this more to the focus for my family. They told me they feel we should take their thoughts on board, and my dad said I should consider not letting my baby's name stand out among theirs the way mine did. My siblings wanted me to consider Jane and how she would feel if I copy my mom's style and stay far away from hers when she has been raising me for years and hearing me bask in the joy of people knowing my mom named me. I reached the end of my rope and told them all that they don't get a say on my baby's name and that I don't want my child's name to blend in with theirs. That it doesn't matter the way they seem to think. And the way they make it sound. It's like telling me I have to choose between them and my mom, or more accurately Jane and my mom. They told me I was callously dismissing their feelings and what this means to them and what message I'm sending to others. They said I started it years ago by making it clear I wanted to name my kids like mom named me. Comment 1. NTA. And frankly, I think you need to cut way back on contact with them. The fact that they genuinely believe that they have the right to dictate to you what your child's name should feels creepy. They are, of course, wrong. Name your child whatever name you want. If they don't like or respect it, they can just bow out of spending time with your little nature baby. Be prepared for them to refuse to call your child by their name and to put them on a timeout until they do. This is a common tactic of controlling parents and step-parents. Do not for a second hesitate or go easy on them. This is your baby, not theirs, and they need to get that through their thick skulls immediately. Lay down the law. Comment 2. To be frank, I knew that your family were both weirdos and automatically in the wrong in whatever the situation was, the moment you said that they tried to force a 5-year-old to use a different name, like you were a rehomed puppy. NTA. Please have way less contact with them. They are not good people. Comment 3. I have 11 cousins, and it never occurred to me that any of their parents would worry if their names fit in with mine or my brother's. That's just nuts. You're not the royal family of Fredonia, you don't need matchy names. You're NTA, unless you name your children after characters in TV series. This happened a few days ago and I have been conflicted since. Before my birthday, 5 of my friends asked if I would like to get some food and drinks out for my birthday event. I said sure. Where would we go? Mike said anywhere you like. I suggested a nearby steakhouse that I have been to in the past. We all met each other there. Mike was quick to order himself a drink and started talking about appetizers. I said I don't normally eat them, but I will try one. We ordered our mains and we all had ordered the steak and another round of drinks, at which point Adam also ordered a bottle of champagne. I said you guys don't need to get me champagne, it's only my birthday, nothing too special. When Mike said lighten up birthday boy, have some fun, I did think maybe I was being too uptight, and since I was being treated it's not too big of a problem, I may as well celebrate. Mike started arguing with the table next to us because they threw a French fry at him. I tried to explain to him that they weren't even eating French fries, he had them earlier and must have dropped one. Then he stood up and started swearing at the table. There was a child at the table about 3 years old who looked absolutely shocked. I told Mike to sit down and he started pushing me, saying that man threw something at me. The waiter came over and said there had been complaints against us. Mike just silently drank his beer and Adam started arguing with the waiter, saying the other table started it. The waiter said we needed to pay up and leave in the next few minutes before there was a problem. I said thanks guys, do you want me to help pay? At which point they all looked at me and Adam said, you're the birthday man, right? You got money? I said I thought you were inviting me because it's my birthday as a present. Adam chuckled a bit and said, weren't you the one that chose where we were going, bud? Adam got up to leave and said, let's go boys. I started to worry, I thought they were pranking me or something, and said you can't really go. Then Adam started to walk away, so I grabbed him a bit and he looked at my hand and said, get your hand off me, pal. I just looked at him and said, why are you acting like this, man? They walked out and left me with the bill. I tried to explain to the waiter about the situation. He said someone's gotta pay and your table was causing a lot of trouble tonight. I tried to apologize but he just looked at me like I was dirt. So I just paid, it was most of my money. I spoke to my friends after and they just acted like nothing happened. I said you guys need to pay me back and I got several replies along the lines of it's already over, leave it. So I haven't spoken to them in a few days. I received a few messages asking me if I am still crying or if I grew up yet. I haven't replied and I want to know if I was wrong to assume that I wouldn't be paying. The whole situation had me feeling weird. Comment 1. This is really horrific behavior on your friend's part. NTA. I actually find this story much more shocking than the headline. I thought you were a little upset because your friends didn't treat you to a birthday meal. They're inviting you out for your birthday then expecting you to pay for everyone is absurd. And also, their behavior at the restaurant makes them sound like real bores. You sound like a nice guy, find better friends. Comment 2. Your friends sound like garbage. I definitely wouldn't assume my friends were paying. I know it's customary in some places, but where I live the birthday person is the one who pays, but it's rude to assume either way. But you're still NTA because your friends are TA for sticking you with the bill, acting nasty all night, and sending you rude messages about it. Maybe take a step back from them and then find new friends. Or better yet, stick them with a bill of yours next time, and then ditch them for better friends. Comment 3. This was definitely a twist. I came here thinking you were expecting them to pay your part, but they stuffed you with a whole bill on top of starting a fight. These guys aren't your friends. They used you. And then they insult you afterwards. It sucks. But block them and find better friends. Because that's really horrible of them. They don't and can't see how shitty they are. NTA. My GF could not get through college because it was too difficult for her. She was 24. She was crying all the time and stressed out. She tried for multiple years, but couldn't do it. She said it was too hard for her, and after discussing it a lot, I said she could drop out and I'd take care of her. I liked the idea of giving someone I love a really happy and great life. She can enjoy herself and chase after hobbies. I always pictured myself with someone that was highly educated like I was, but I realized it doesn't have to be that way and some people are happier without the capitalist grind. It was hard for a while, especially when we were younger and I was still in school, but I'm an engineer now. Since I am the only person providing, I work upper 40s to mid 50s every week. I love my job and I am passionate about what I do, but it is physically exhausting. It even zaps my energy on the weekends. I'm still really young, though, so I am hoping to work less in the future. She does like 90% of the cooking and cleaning. But we have a smallish condo, live in a big city, and no kids. We do have a dog. So I was shocked when we were with new friends and she mentioned that she was a stay-at-home mom and it was the hardest job in the world, what she did. I corrected her and said we didn't have kids and didn't want any for the next 10 years. She said sure, but our dog is our child. For the rest of the dinner she went on to talk about how difficult being a housewife is with a woman there that was actually a stay-at-home mom. It really rubbed me wrong. I wouldn't ever say I have the hardest job in the world. Afterwards, I asked her what she meant. I said she was living the life I would kill to be in her shoes. I'm clocking 50 hours a week while she's sending me pictures of her shopping at Target, spending hundreds somehow, and she has the hardest job in the entire world. I said that made me feel really underappreciated. She said I was underappreciating her. It is the hardest job. Cooking and cleaning is exhausting. She said she spent 6 hours on cooking yesterday, but I pointed out all she made was a Chipotle bowl. If that's taking you 6 hours, something is wrong. She said she was counting in the hours she spent letting the beans simmer. Like JFC. It comes off extremely privileged, which she is, I guess. I told her she has no idea what it's like for me. She's never worked a full-time job, and it rubs me the wrong way she's talking about how hard cooking beans is. I said if it was that hard, she can go back to school or get a job and we'll hire a cook/cleaner. If I hired someone to do her job, I'd save a lot of money. It turned into a big fight. She called me an a-hole. Comment 1. NTA. You're being taken advantage of. This will not get better. You should consider yourself lucky she's just a girlfriend and you have no kids. Leave now. She will always be entitled and always think she's doing more. Counting the beans simmering? She is ridiculous. OP comment. I feel horrible for reconsidering our relationship over this, but I am. It just made me realize how entitled and ungrateful she is. Who counts the time it takes for food to simmer as the amount of time you spent working? She was probably watching TV during. I'm not going to make any rush decisions. I'm going to think about it, but I definitely don't think our relationship can continue the way it currently is. I'd appreciate it if she at least got a job maybe. I don't know. I think it's a good idea for everyone to work a full-time job at least at some part in your life. Comment 2. NTA. If looking after one dog and cleaning a small condo is such a hard life for her, imagine what happens when life really starts getting hard. If you have kids? If you lose your job? If one of you gets very ill? She sounds like a self-entitled mooch who has no clue what the real world is like.